Is everybody happy for us to continue with what I've decided is we'll have four presidents meetings a year, and in between we'll miss one in summer, so we'll have 7 or 8 just general area 4 meetings for anybody who wants to take part.
This is a general meeting for Alistair, is it?
Yes, it is, but I'm proposing next time to have a president's one, presidents and vice presidents for those going into office in the 1st of July.
Yeah, okay.
Alistair, what are you hoping to achieve? What are you hoping to achieve by having the open meeting of members from the area?
I feel it's important to listen to what they want, to listen to everybody in the group. I think having a president's only meeting is fine. I think there's occasions for that, but I think that there's a lot of members out there who want to take part and have a contribution to make. I think it's quite good for building bridges between clubs as well, Alistair. But it's, I sometimes think if it's restricted to presidents and vice presidents, then it narrows down the feedback you get. And I think we're at a period where feedback is very, very important.
Oh yeah, it's always, I mean, when we met each other face to face, the biggest problem was presidents not telling their other members of their club what had been discussed or anything. That's always been a problem.
And another thing is, I feel it very important to build bridges between district and the clubs, and also the areas and district with the areas. Just really building bridges, and I think Zoom has done that. Or the forum has certainly been a great thing, and I now get a chance on Zoom to see people that I don't often see. And you're introducing possibly in some cases future office bearers to people from other clubs. I always think once you know people, it's easier when we get back to face-to-face meetings going to visit another club. Right, should we start? That's what have we got? We've got 11.
You've got 12.
12.
Including me. So.
That's
11 again.
Yeah.
You're always welcome, Ken.
Yeah, at 12. So welcome all, and obviously 1 or 2 people might still join. So welcome all to the Area 4 meeting. I have nothing at this stage to report, but any updates? I think the first thing is from a district point of view, Ken. Is there anything you want to update everybody in district?
So no pressure putting me on first and with me warning.
You're up to it.
Warning, aye.
Yeah, thanks, Alistair. I think most people here were on the assembly last Sunday. So despite the technical hitches we had, there is a recording on YouTube, and we'll get a link sent out to everybody, and all the presentations will be available separately. I'm just kind of trying to get them loaded onto the district website at the moment. We do have a vacancy for health and safety. If anyone in your club would like to step forward for that, nominations welcome. And I could be nasty and just go around each one and say who in your club could do it, but you'll volunteer them anyway, won't you? So there is a vacancy for health and safety, which is trying to think if there's any other key vacancies at the moment. My mind's going to blank. I think the key thing is going to be just starting to see who can continue beyond July next year, so as to how many positions we need to fill in a year's time. So thinking caps on before I come and put arms up backs or whatever, to see that. I think that's the key things. The Alistair Robb, our DG, is I think now about 2/3 his way around visiting clubs about the membership task force report. So I think a lot of you have seen that, and he will finish that. The next thing obviously is for this group, Alistair Walker visiting all the clubs, part of the assembly, and reinforcing the message and talking more about the mini health check that was recommended. So I think that's about it, Alistair. Unless anyone's any questions, happy to take them.
Ken, was Alistair, Rob, was he ill?
Yes, he's really not been feeling well, and he doesn't know what it is, which is kind of infuriating, but it seems to come in bouts of 3 to 4 days at a time at the moment, but he's been pretty unwell this week.
Well, I heard he was ill, but okay, thank you.
He hasn't had the vaccination recently. A friend of mine, her husband he's had recurring bouts of feeling unwell over a period of about 3 or 4 weeks, which is thankfully passed, and they put it down to the vaccine.
It's nothing to do with the vaccine.
All right. Yeah. On the club assemblies, I've got about half of the dates back. Some clubs have not let me know the assembly date, so if you could get the assembly dates to me as soon as possible, because I need to send out emails looking for certain information. I need the dates to put them in my diary. I've only got one clash so far, so I'll see if Julian Brown can do it. Anything, with regard to the clubs, first of all, any updates from clubs, anything that's happening? No. Some of the clubs have done the mini health check. How many here have done the mini health check? So
we haven't done ours yet because we're going through a consultation with the members about that, and we're having a discussion this week. So we'll be better appraised of where we're going. So we'll tackle it after that.
Yeah, Port Lethen's the same. We're doing a check with our members, and we're holding our club health check on the 25th of May, prior to you coming to see us, Alistair.
Thank you. How about you, Alan? How's St. Margaret getting on? Have you looked at it?
It's still sitting in my desk. I could say that we're working on it, but it's sitting on my desk as something else to get done. It'll be done. It's been spoken about briefly, but we'll work on it, and it will be done.
So you're busy. I mean, you're busier now. You're retired than ever.
I am. Oh, bloody Rotary stuff as well.
What's happening with membership, which is obviously the concern, because we've no idea what's going to happen come the 1st of July, how it's going to affect membership. So how's membership doing across the clubs represented?
Ours is doing very well, and our attendance at meetings is really very good, in fact. We're actually currently in the middle of going through meetings with more recent members. We've gone back 2 years and having meetings with them and see what they want to get out of Rotary, how they saw Rotary, what they knew about Rotary beforehand, and all that sort of stuff. So we're in the midst of doing that, and then the mini health check will follow.
Sorry, Roy.
Yeah, West Hill, we've got a couple of new members looking to join. We've got one coming in from another club. Unfortunately, we lost, I don't know if anybody knew him, Professor Bob Oskoff. He passed away earlier in the month. And our Mike Livingston is on declining health, so he's not looking very good at the moment. So other than that, we're struggling on.
It's always membership's always a struggle. It's how we deal with it. This is where we have to grasp the opportunities. So, because I know that from Peter Vermeulen and Aboyne Upper Deeside, they've attracted quite a few members, but it was highlighted. In fact, David Fryer mentioned it earlier that 58 clubs have had no new members, which is a staggering figure. But its importance has been stressed of speaking to the members, asking what they want, speaking to potential members, and finding out what they want moving forward, how we go about the meetings. I think it's very important. because we have to adapt to the current situation.
I think at Portlethen, where Alistair, you'd agree, we're really struggling with this. We've potential members, we can't even find potential members, which is, I'd be quite interested to know how Upper Deeside had the success. That would be well worth knowing. One thing that we're trying to push forward is Friends of Rotary, to get people to come along as Friends of Rotary to our Zoom meetings, and with no pressures on them. But if we got half a dozen friends, perhaps 2 or 3 might become Rotarians. The new Rotarians we had last year, one of them has paid his fees. I can't even get in touch with the guy. That's the last we heard from him, really.
Yeah.
Another one decided he'd be an associate rather than full member. But the good news that we have is that we've got a lady of about 50 who's showing great interest, and she's from the new town of Chapelton, opposite Newton Hill. And if we could just land that one, I think that it might open doors to others. And she appears, I think, Alice, you'd agree, very keen.
Well, she's very, she's really on the ball, and I think that would help. And she hasn't been put off so far. But I think if she joined, others would join as well from that area.
I hope so, because I mean, there's a whole new town there.
Yeah.
And we have, well, Margaret Kennedy, who moved there. But Margaret's in our, well, not nearly as old as me, but she's creeping up.
One of our younger members in her 60s.
Yes, yes. She's just in her 60s.
Yeah.
By the way, I reached all the 7s yesterday.
Well done. Happy birthday.
Just a youngster. Happy birthday, belated.
Oh gosh, yeah. The only trouble is when you're 77, you can't even reverse it and feel good. So we are continuing, but we are struggling. But good news, I think, from clubs who have achieved something would be very useful. How did they do it? What method worked?
So one of the things we have in progress at the moment is to open up our Zoom meetings to the public. We've set ourselves up with a Facebook group, and the members and membership of that has grown to 173 or something like that. We publish our events. Once a month we publish an event. On Wednesday night past, we had a bingo night, and that earned us over £900. What we're hoping to do is to get all our members to bring a friend, and that's something that we've held off on doing until we get back to face-to-face meetings. But that'll be our push, and we'll try and capitalize on our 173 members by going out and saying, hey, you've been giving us likes and comments and so on. How about coming along to a no obligation evening? And looking forward possibly to the associate model that you're talking about. So that's our loose thoughts for the future, nothing in concrete as yet.
I think, oh, sorry, it's my phone. I think that the online meetings, Zoom meetings have been good for Rotary. It's how we continue with that. I think it's very, very important that we've certainly, in Aberdeen, we've been looking at having, getting back in some states to face-to-face meetings, but also video streaming and Zooming it to other people who can't be there because of the restrictions in numbers, that everybody can take part in the meeting on the day, but not all together. And I think that's the way forward. I think that's what's attracted members. Any views on that?
I think from listening to, sorry, Ken, do you want to go? I think from speaking to Peter and what he's done with his members is I think they've picked them up from various community initiatives that they've had on the go over the last year. So they've been involved with the schools and the local community, and just through that, I think they've managed to attract members, and because it's going virtually. And I think that was one of the suggestions that came up from Assembly on Sunday, one of the guys who was doing the public image was suggesting getting involved with the communities, groups and whatever else, and you might attract somebody to come along and be associate or a friend of, and just get them to help out. I think that's how it's been done, Robert. But Peter might be able to tell you more. But I think that was what I picked up from him and from past meetings.
We are actually doing all that.
Yeah, but still not getting any new members.
Still not getting people that can. Possibly one thing that jumped out at me there was inviting the public to meetings.
Yeah, that's good.
I guess another good way to do that is to get a really good speaker, a motivating speaker, and to publicize the meeting with the speaker. It would be a good way. I think that would possibly bring people in. It wouldn't be directly to a Rotary meeting, but it would be with us at a meeting that would catch people's interest.
Yeah, I think you have to be careful in selecting your speaker, and once a month we engineer it so we've got a speaker that might be of interest to the public. What we did, we initially kicked this off with our Burns night, and I think we had about 50 people at that. So you know, not necessarily all potential Rotarians, but maybe one or two in it, and goodness, you only need a small handful to keep going as is.
Yeah. Alan, is
Well,
that
we've only got a
private
handful.
Facebook page you've got, is it? So it's only anybody who wants to join, you have to approve them joining, and they only can see the posts. Is that correct?
That's right. We had to limit that because we had a couple of rogue people joined, and one of them was using his membership of the page to promote business loans or something like that.
Oh, right. Okay.
We zapped that, so, you know, within 10 or 15 minutes. But now we have approval for memberships, and we have approval for all the posts, so that the posts go out correctly.
Yep.
When one of our speakers unfortunately promoted his business, and it was unintentional, of course. And again, we had to zap that one because we can't promote businesses.
Oh, correct.
There's a little bit of management around that, but you have to put a bit of energy into it. And you know, we're very careful to try and get at least one post out a week. And sitting behind that, our membership, there's probably about maybe 15 maximum people look at the page. That's out of our membership, and there's about 5 people actually contribute. So there's actually making it look bigger than it is by
no, it's not a good idea to have, though. That's the thing.
It's a means to an end. It's very Machiavellian, but it's a means to an end.
Absolutely.
Maybe working.
Well, we've got to be careful, haven't we?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We've no qualms about that. You know, once we get them through the door, we'll take them into the back room and waterboard them into.
That's the way to go.
At West Hill, we're joining a lot with the community council. We're doing litter picks with them, and also we're going to be doing hanging baskets, and they're going to be putting barrels around the roundabouts and things like that. And they've also been involved in the orbital route around West Hill, cutting down branches off trees to make the route through the woods and all that. So we have quite a bit of interaction with the community council at the moment, but we haven't got any of them to join, but we're still trying to do things with them.
Venture is there's an Affy Fine market being held just outside Bankery, at the place we hold our vintage car rally. And we have an invite to that to be maybe not exactly the charitable body, but we've had the invite, so we've taken that up. So we've a tent there on Sunday morning. We'll have a little game, you know, chucking dice. One of the things we use at the farmers, not the farmers market, the agricultural show, and some Rotary literature and so on. So it's our first venture into that. It's very much suck it and see, and see and learn from there and move on.
It does appear that community involvement is a big thing in attracting membership. It's clear that the clubs which are expanding, it's down to the community involvement.
It's quite interesting. The 2 clubs with the biggest membership increase this year, one is Aboyne, and well done them. The other one is the E Club of Aviation, who for the last 3 years have been in the top recruiters. And amazingly, they're recruiting from Australia through to the west coast of the States. But obviously there's a passion for aviation, but they do projects locally wherever they are.
Yeah.
I was going to come back on to the meetings going forward, and you know, and I recognize everybody wants to get back face to face, but there is a recognition that some people might not want to. Some people might actually enjoy being able to do things remotely. So we've got a small team working on hybrid's the wrong word, I think, but that's what we've called the group, on hybrid meetings where there's people in person and people remotely. And for the clubs that don't have technical wizards, they'll come up with a simple solution on how that could be managed. But you can imagine there's many permutations and what needs to be covered in that. So the team are working on that. And each club should have got a note yesterday asking for, go and give us feedback so we can check this properly. And it's a 5-minute online questionnaire. Do you do this? Do you have do you have a guru? Do you have people that speak? Do you have whatever? And that would be really useful if we can get that information back. We've requested it for next Wednesday, I think it was. Simple questionnaire.
Very simple.
Haven't seen it.
I did mine yesterday. I'm a good boy.
Yeah, it's
So
quite,
we'll get ours done.
quite interesting that just as some people don't want to take part in Zoom, there are also quite a number of Rotarians, as Ken has highlighted, don't want to meet face to face, not in the short to medium term until things are becoming clearer. We had a discussion this morning in the Aberdeen Club Council, and what they were thinking is when we get back to being able to meet face to face, the numbers will be limited. So they were exploring the possibility of then having a second room where everything is streamed into a second room for them to be part of the meeting and take part in it somewhere else. But also they're now looking at recording the meetings and Zooming them to anybody who wants to take part in Zoom at the same time as they have a face-to-face meeting. I think that's the way forward, because clearly online meetings appeal to quite a lot of people. So it's balancing the two, isn't it, Ken? It's balancing all the technology available.
Yep. And it's
And did that email come out to presidents or secretaries?
the answer is yes. I can't remember. Kath Charlie sent it out yesterday morning.
All right.
Yeah,
It went out to both.
yeah.
Did it? Okay. Maybe I'm
It was in
okay.
I think it was in the same email as the Ryla one.
Yes, that's correct. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think on this point of attendance, I've got a problem. It's not a choice for me. I can't go to a meeting
Yes.
for the foreseeable future. So to me, it's going to be quite important that we do have a good way forward.
Yeah.
So that otherwise I'm going to be out of it, basically.
No, and we're aiming for a solution, or the simple solution, probably week 2, week 3 of May. They've been diverging in all the options at the moment, and really the amount they were discussing really prompted the questionnaire to try and start toning the whole thing back down again. But you can imagine the different permutations depending. If you go to Elgin with 75 members and with speakers and with microphones in the room and amplifiers in the room, that it becomes a huge amount of options. So there'll be a simple solution come out, because the likes of Elgin, I'm sure, will have a technical guru somewhere in that 75 people. So, but we'll have that out shortly.
Yeah. John Johnston is very much up to speed in it, and he said it doesn't have to be expensive technology. They have, I think, a £30 camera, and they stream it with that. And in our discussions with RNUC, they now have that facility. They have a camera, the laptop, and all the equipment there, and can stream it live as well as recording it. But it is a way forward. That's the problem we've got, is somebody rightly pointed out, some people due to health issues can't attend. Other people can't because you know, they're bedridden, whichever's another health issue. But as somebody pointed out, they can still be involved in Rotary because there's always things they can do from home, admin and backup and things like that. So it's a case of being inclusive.
I think there's also the option, Alistair, of in my own club, there's some people live, you know, 3-4 mile out of forest, 5 mile out of forest, on some very back roads, and their house is a good bit higher up than forests on the coast. So snow and dark nights and everything does cause an issue. So they're pretty keen to do something like that.
Well, look at Sky, you know, the proposal to get a Sky Club going, but online. I've always thought somewhere like a Boyne Upper Deeside is a classic case of somebody that could do it, because a Boyne to Braemar is 30 miles. And somebody wants to be part of Rotary in Braemar. It's not feasible to travel that 30 miles if they're meeting in a Boyne on that occasion. Any clubs approached other outside organisations who I see as you know, you obviously spoken about community projects, but these outside organisations are it's right grounds for us to pick up potential members, work in cooperation with them. Any comments?
No.
Any new fundraising initiatives? I know we've heard we heard about the Bonnecord raffle. You might want to update us about it. I think there's changes this year, isn't there, Alan? Do you want to speak about it?
If I have to. I seem to be car raffle out this week. We had a big Zoom meeting earlier this week with the presidents and all the club contacts, and we put forward our case for what we're planning on doing, and we've given the clubs until the 7th of May to discuss it and come back. So hopefully all the clubs that are here today anyway were represented. Mary certainly was at it, and hopefully there was a lot of positivity about it. I'm sure Mary will agree, and there was also some negativity about it as well. But in a nutshell, we have been offered at one of the empty shop units in the Bonnecord Centre, and that will be our base from the 1st of July all the way through till the draw and Christmas Eve. The huge benefit that we've got there is that we can market Rotary and in whatever shape or form we want to do it, because within the unit there will be the car down the middle. Charlie House will be on one side as the charity that we're supporting, and Rotary will have the whole other side. Now we're talking about 7 meters long of a wall, and I'm very, very pleased that we have DGN Jim Hatter already on our organising committee, and he has undertaken to arrange all the publicity material for it. So apparently Ken might know this, but there's a Rotary wall available, which Jim is picking up this weekend, I believe, and we're going to have a look at that and see what we can do. So there's great potential, something Rotary hasn't had, I don't think, before that I'm aware of anyway. You would have from July right through to December to publicise Rotary, as well as sell car raffle tickets, which is the important part as well. So it's up to the clubs if they're happy. We need their support, because we need individuals to be covering. We have the agreement with the Bonnecord Centre is that we must be there 3 days a week, and that's from the 1st of July. So it's not an onerous undertaking in terms of numbers of members needing to be there. We'll get away with a couple each day all the way through. It's roughly 10, we're negotiating on the timings, but 10 till 4, 10 till 5 each day of the 3 days we're there is what's required up until mid-November, and then we'll revert back to what we've always been, and that's in every day right through till the draw. But the period from July to November is the one that we're needing to get the okay from clubs to do, and that's why we had that meeting on Tuesday, and we'll just wait for the feedback from clubs and hope it goes. So far, the ones that we have heard from are very positive about it, but we do need the vast majority of the 25 participating clubs to take part and support us before we will go ahead with it. That's Alistair. Yeah. Oh.
As I said, from what I heard at the meeting, Alan, I think apart from the raffle, it sounded there was a really good opportunity to promote Rotary in general, and
that's the whole thing.
I was surprised at some of the negativity because I didn't really see anything negative about it. So hopefully everybody will buy into it now.
Yeah, I'm hoping that we convince the negative clubs that it should be something that they should support. But hey ho, it's entirely up to them what they wish to do. I mean, we had 20 of the 25 participating clubs represented, so it was a fair cross section that we were talking to, and I've sent out the minutes from that meeting to everybody, so all clubs have no excuse for saying we didn't hear anything. So we only can wait.
That sounds really exciting, Alan. And I'm just thinking of all the publicity you could do with whether it's a video screen showing bits, a huge telly, whatever it is.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, between all the clubs in area 3 and 4, everybody just needs to appear once between now and Christmas.
Yeah. Well, we reckon, Ken, at worst it would be twice.
Yeah.
About roughly every 8 to 10 weeks would be what's required of a club. So we're thinking that's why I said it's not hugely onerous, but there will be negative vibes coming out from some clubs, there's no doubt. But hopefully, and that was the reason we held this Zoom meeting, first time we've ever done that, to try and get our points across easier than by email.
Sure. Get Christy Robb involved as well. She'd be delighted to help them.
Well, Jim has got or getting Christy involved, because apart from the wall, there's also to the right hand side of the unit, there's a big what would have been a window to another unit, but is now a fixed wall, and we can use that for publicity material too. We have to remember that Charlie House have got to get some of it. It's not just all Rotary, but we will be hopefully going ahead with it. But
Aberdeen's it was supportive. We agreed on Tuesday we would support it. So I think most clubs would. Any other comments?
About five clubs so far supporting it, but I mean it's early days, so we wanted to give all the clubs the opportunity to discuss it fully, and that's fine. That's where it should be. We can then move forward. So that's a car raffle, Alistair.
Any comments?
Can I just ask you a quick question, Alan?
No, because there are never quick questions from you, John.
No, honestly, I only picked this up on Tuesday because Denise Murray was speaking about our club. I think it's superb. Am I right in thinking the bit you cannot have are pop-ups? It's all going to be through the walls.
There'll be no. The Barnard Centre do not want pop-up banners scattered everywhere, and that's why we're. When Jim Hatter told us about this wall, that was a brilliant idea. What the Barnard Centre will do, if the wall isn't deemed suitable, the Barnard Centre will supply screens. But there is also such a big wall, and the side of the unit that I have grabbed for Rotary, we've got all the plugs on the floor. So if we had a a screen or a video to run, then we can do that as well. So there's various options, but we're working closely with Jim and he in turn with Christy. So I'm fairly sure we'll get good quality stuff to publicise Rotary if the clubs go with it.
No, that's brilliant. I've already a note to give Jim a wee shout, because I've got stuff I take to assembly and council meetings. And we've also got material that we've put around the perimeter of the beach ballroom at times when we've had the district primary quiz final. And we used to have around the perimeter of the ballroom, we used to set up little display areas. You'll end up with too much material, Alan. You'll have to select what you want. Yeah, I mean, we will have restrictions set on us by the Barnacott Centre. So we just, Jim's going to be looking after that on our behalf, along with the rest of us. But, I'm sure we'll be able to get stuff good enough to satisfy the district governor and the district governor-elect and the district governor nominee. If we keep on their good shoes, then we'll be all right. No. All right, Ken.
Well, it's not involving the governor-elect, I see.
I was just going to add, Alan, the other bit of that is I think there'd be so much material that you could refresh the display every so time. I'm sure you're ahead of me in that, but it wouldn't just be about putting it up once. And if people happen to come along a couple of times, they've already seen it and they're not paying attention, that you'd have potentially got so much material, you just change
I'll be interested to see it in the first instance, to see what it's all about, and then where we go with it from there. But I'm sure between Jim and Kirsty, then we'll be fine. Rotary will get the benefit. I have no doubt.
I think the important thing is, there's a tendency, come and join my club. I think the most important thing is that people are interested to join the club that suits them regardless. And instead of saying, come and join my club, it's a case of saying, well, there are a whole range of Rotaries. If we don't suit, somebody else probably will.
Yeah, one of the things that we were speaking about was ensuring that the name of each participating club is mentioned somewhere. But we're not at that stage at the moment because we haven't got the approval of the clubs. So it's all hypothetical, really, until after the 7th of May.
Yeah.
So we can't really plan anything else at the moment. We've done basically, I think, all the planning we can do.
Yeah. Anything else on that?
I think David Fryer's got his hand up.
Oh yeah, sorry, David.
Thank you. I asked for an opportunity to be here today. 2 reasons. The principal reason was about following up from assembly. It's about going forward. And with regard to what would have been a traditional assembly, there would have been breakout sessions. We know why that didn't happen. But looking at going forward between broadly now, end of June, early July, all the team leaders have been asked to put together breakout sessions to operate through Zoom. So just want to test out a few points with you. Been discussing this in detail with Malcolm Rudy, who has a lead on environment, and we're going to be looking to do 2 breakouts, one that's got a focus on environment, not just because it's an area of focus, that's important for all of us, but it's a community issue. It is probably the most topical issue affecting all generations, particularly the youngest. And we're just starting to give some thought as to how we will engage, first of all, with Rotarians on what we do, and particularly around environmental themes. We're also just giving some thought as to how we can maybe stretch out, just as some folk have been saying here today, to make it open to others, to see basically what we're all about. And I know I will come back to this as you have as well. It's what we do that matters. It's not how we seem to be organizing our meetings. It's how we bring in that litter pick together, or the riverbank clean, or building something which you can put flowers in at a station, a whole range of ideas. some well-known, some a bit quirky, but it's really what Rotary can do. So that's something we're looking at. But the other thing I just wanted to comment on, and Alistair and I have been giving this some thought, because we feel we've all got a challenge, and the challenge is about growing Rotary, growing its membership. And we must use every opportunity to say, be part of an organization. And even if you don't want to go down the route to joining formally, be a friend, be an associate, be an affiliate. There's a number of descriptions here. But if you like what we do, find a way to join in. And here's where I think we've got the significant gap. And it was brought home to me at Assembly when District Governor-elect Heather said, in the last year, we have 88 clubs, 58 had no movement on membership. You know, well done to Aboyne and Deeside, well done to Elgin. There can always be the exceptions to the rule, but the trends are folk don't wish to join traditional membership organizations. And that's not just Rotary. I've got that with 2 community organizations. There are people who reluctantly join, but then they okay about joining, but getting them to do things, they're quite happy for a small group who they feel they know and trust to get on and organize things, but then they're really quite happy to get involved and roll their sleeves up. So we share this with community centers, community councils, Kirks, a whole range of organizations. How do we grow Rotary? And the bit that Alistair and I are quite keen to see that we fill a gap on is, can we have a new model, a new way of doing Rotary? And I'll call it the E-Club model. We want to see if we can develop this to fill the gap, start to fill a gap. The success of Rotary Club of Aviation shows what can be done. So that's one thing to follow up on. Where we would like to get your support is there are folk who have either been in Rotary and have left, or they're standing out with Rotary, looking in, but they never step forward. There is a recruiting pool that we've got to find those folk and get them interested in engaging with Rotary. It may then lead on to getting membership. So here's the ask Alistair and I said we would put to you is, do you know some folk who are the friends, affiliates, associates, or just kind of always seem to join in with a Rotary activity, but then they disappear, but they come back again? We target some of those folk. Do you have their names? Can you share some details with us? We work out the GDPR stuff of that so that we can say, would you like to be part of a new way of doing Rotary? Not going to traditional meetings and meals, but be part of the Zoom world. It's here, it's going to stay, it's going to happen. That can be a different way of doing Rotary. So it's how we can all look at how we can do some things differently and engage with others. We've got to reach down to the younger generations. Hey, I've nearly had my 3 score plus 10 and I still want to be in credit after that. So it concerns me, 20 years time, you know, where's the next generation of Rotarians? Not just this year, a couple of decades down the line. Because if we're not getting them now, we're not going to have them then. That's the challenge I think we've got. So a couple of asks there. One focus around the assembly breakouts, engagement with Rotary and others. The other thing is, how do we start to find those people who are interested, whether they've come and gone or haven't stepped into the room, to engage with them, just get them closer?
I think to add to what David has said, because David and I have been quite involved in this, and we've been pushing the idea. I think the first thing is we are definitely not trying to attract existing Rotarians. That is not the aim of this. It's to try and mop up those who, as David has said, who have been in Rotary and have left because of the commitments, or they don't like traditional Rotary, or those that want to take part in a purely online type Rotary club. So as David has said, that's who we're looking for, friends of Rotary, former members who don't want to meet on a face-to-face basis. Now, we're working our way through this, because we would hope that if we can get an online Rotary club started, we're proposing just as a name, but it'll be up to the members, would be the Rotary Club of Grampian, which will be a broad-based thing to try and attract a wide spread of members. But the hope is that they might feed into the system later when their commitments permit them to meet in a more traditional format. And also, I'd like to think that they could join existing clubs to help and support them. You know, things like the Bonaccord raffle or Kids Out, or even local litter picks, or these things. People in these localities will step in and help. So this is the idea. It's something different, but not to detract from existing clubs, to add to it in the hope that it will build the strength in the membership of Rotary in this area. But as I said, that's how we're looking at it. How they meet, when they meet, and the format will be dependent on the people. We have how many, David? About 68 names so far of people who are interested. We don't want to join a Rotary club, but we'd be interested in doing it on a virtual or online basis. So there's the thought. So any comments on that? Any observations?
If I could quickly reply to Alistair, comments I've got is the once a week meetings is just too much in today's busy world. Something that can be lighter to join into, and virtual is seen as a preferred way of doing it, but still with an opportunity for face-to-face contact, but not the predominant way. So it's an alternative way of meeting.
So what we're looking for is from any of your clubs is people who have shown an interest, but who they can't meet as part of your club, but are happy to come along and help you and to take part in your social functions. So it's that void that's left between Rotary and a lot of people who are not interested in traditional clubs. Any comments on that?
Yeah.
Because I know I've asked about our friends of Rotary or past members who've left due to commitments, if it would be in order to approach them and ask if they would like to take part in an online club. But as I said, I do see this as a two-way street, because there might well come a time when they would want to join a local club or to enjoy the fellowship of it. So they might well pass on in due course into more traditional clubs.
I was just going to say, Alistair, I think it might be useful for you and I and David just to get together on Zoom sometime. There is an alumni handbook which we put together. It's on in the membership pages in 2018, and I became alumni coordinator a few years ago for the district, and it's going to be updated. And in fact, coincidentally, I was having a little presentation and talk with Mary and her colleagues at Balgownie last night. And part of that concept is we're struggling with the term alumni because it's got connotations. But part of that concept is that all clubs have contacts, and they've made contacts with all kinds of people over the years, including the folk that have gone through youth projects, but also activities that clubs at a district level have sponsored in different ways. And what we just need to do is encourage clubs to try and create some kind of framework so that there's a regular contact with people that have been in touch with Rotary for all kinds of reasons. So we could maybe put our heads together on that, and I'll send you some of the material.
And can I say, Ken, going to bring you into this in a sense, the forum has served us well over the last 12 months, but there can be a place for it going forward, either through an e-club or through a range of ways, or even keeping the existing format going. You will obviously have an opinion on that, but look how it's brought us together over the vast geographical distances when definitely face-to-face was ruled out. So there are different ways we can do Rotary, but bring others in. And that's about growing Rotary. That's what we must do going forward.
I know the biggest concern that I come across is how it affects membership. And as I said, that is not the intention. The only Rotarians that we're interested in are those who are going to be leaving anyway, but might be prepared to stay on an online format. But we're not interested in existing Rotarians who in attracting from clubs. So just assure everybody that is not the intention. This is to add to it. I think that it would have failed if we don't attract other people to it who would normally join Rotary. And that's fair comment, isn't it, Ken? So any observations or comments? Well, you know, in due course, we'll speak to people about, you'll come along and speak to people about it. As I said, all we need is a note of names or possibilities for people who are not prepared to join your club, but who might be prepared to take part in an online club. It's unlikely to meet every week, might do once a month or once a fortnight, but they will be encouraged to join with other local clubs to help in projects and fundraising and just for fellowship, that to feel part of Area 3 and Area 4. It's not just Area 4, it's Area 3 and 4. No. So there's no more comments on that. Now, I'm conscious time's wearing on. For those who've had the membership task force report and the updates from Alistair, Rob, are there any comments, anything Andy wants to share about it? Membership is the single most important thing facing us all. And if we want to make a difference, we need members to do it. Any word from clubs as to when they're hoping to resume face-to-face meetings? Presumably it'll be as the rules permit.
Yeah.
Yep.
I presume all clubs are going back to face-to-face meetings at some stage. Is there a proposal to go fortnightly or monthly or to suit? Because I say this is somewhere in the future before this is going to happen.
Well, West Hill's hoping the hotel's been on to us to go back, but obviously we can't do anything until we get permission to go back. And at the moment, we don't have that.
Well, technically, we can, 6 of us can meet in, is it 6 and 6 from 6 different households? So you can have a meeting of 6.
Not yet.
No.
Not yet.
Not yet. That's the middle of May. I think we're being a wee bit presumptuous that all clubs will want to go back to be the way they were. I don't think many will. There'll be some will have a mixture of meeting and a mixture of online. So I think when you talked in that previous issue about people who are not happy with traditional clubs, I don't think there'll be that many traditional clubs traditional anymore after this is all over.
No.
So I think I accept that there's a good idea to get as many people interested in knowledge about what happens in Rotary and how they might be able to help. But I think, I mean, a lot of the clubs haven't met to discuss what they want to do in the future. Yes, there'll be some who are demanding to get back to their lunchtime meeting. We talked about that before the meeting started, but I think it'll be a lot different. And that might be the opportunity for clubs to, I think the idea of going back to former members and asking if they'd like to rejoin virtual idea. I don't know whether it upsets Ken and others who've got plans to create new clubs, but I think both can happen.
No, that's absolutely right, Alistair. I know that we as a club are we're considering where we go from this, and we're unlikely to go back to doing things exactly the same as we did before. And I think they're looking at all sorts of options. But sorry, Ken, I perhaps stole your thunder.
No, yeah, we've gone round in circles now, I think.
Yeah.
But for sure, the biggest feedback I'm getting is there's no going back to normal, old normal. The biggest feedback I get right across the district. There's 1 or 2 saying we'll only go back to that, but that's not the feedback I'm getting. And with the best will in the world, as I think the membership task force is very good. The report on that, I'm a bit biased obviously because of part of the thing there, but not as district, but from Rotary membership in Britain aspect I was asked to input. And the 3 strands are: don't lose the members you've got, ask new people along, and beyond that, we still need new clubs going forward, as well as all of that. But the biggest thing is don't lose members. Mentoring, looking after, cajoling, finding out what they want, That's the biggest thing. That's the biggest thing we can do between now and
Yeah.
June.
It is communicating.
Exactly what we're doing at the moment. And in actual fact, what I forgot to mention earlier, 2 of our long-term associate members have joined many of these Zoom meetings, and the result is that come the 1st of July, they're becoming full members. So that, you know, we see this hybrid meeting thing as the way forward, and we fully intend doing that. We've checked with the hotel and everything, and basically what they're saying is if we don't have the equipment to help you, we'll buy it and we'll get you going.
Brilliant.
So this questionnaire yesterday was quite good for timing as far as we're concerned, and I'll be happy to accept any help going forward to get it off the ground. But we're certainly going down that line. And you know, I suppose I was quiet earlier, but it's not in my nature to be remaining quiet all the time. But I think the virtual club, if clubs go hybrid and half and half, which a lot of clubs I think will do, which is the point Alistair was making, do we need a virtual club? Because these members are going to get what they can get out of a virtual club from a normal club.
I would agree with you, Alan. This virtual club, I think, has got the danger of people choosing what type of club to join. And do we have to change our whole raison d'etre, the reason for us being there, and people just come into a virtual club? And I'm not sure of the virtual club at all. I agree that what I'd like to see is we won't go back, we'll have a hybrid club, but we will have meetings of clubs, not a club meeting, meetings of clubs to discuss topics, because we're now familiar with doing that online. But actually to start virtual club, Alistair knows this, Alistair Walker knows this, but actually to start up virtual clubs, e-clubs, people will then say, oh, well, what type am I going to choose? Oh, well, I'll go into this first and I'll see how it goes. And once you're in, you can't be in 2 clubs, as I understand it. So I'm very skeptical of that. I really am. So I'm agreeing with you, Alan, I think.
You're absolutely right. You cannot be in 2 clubs.
Yeah.
But one of the things I recommend, because I get through people on the database that says I'm interested in being a Rotarian, they fill in the piece online on Rotary.org. And my first reaction to them is, I think this is a good one for you, but go and try 3 or 4 to see which one's best for you.
Yeah.
So, but even beyond that, of the 8 new clubs I've signed off for Britain and Ireland this year, 4 are solely e-clubs. And that's the reaction across Britain and Ireland. So half of all the new clubs, and they've all been formed during COVID, are e-clubs. Passport. We're actually going to have a speaker on one of them at the forum on the 10th of June.
Okay.
So, there you go.
I think the thing about e-clubs is there's a place for it. I hear what you say and I agree with you, but I think there is a place for this. There are people that are more comfortable with that format. I saw a void for people who are either moving to Aberdeen at some stage, or have come from Aberdeen, or have moved away but want to maintain connections. And that's why Ian Kerr went into the E-Club of the Aviation Rotary Club. And we've had an interest expressed from a former member of ours who now travels the world, and he likes the idea because it gives him the opportunity to link with people back here in Aberdeen. So there's a place for it, but there's also it's no doubt that we will build existing clubs by using virtual and online and hybrid technology. Absolutely no doubt about it. We don't see this as taking over. It was merely another string to the bow, and in building Rotary membership. That be a fair comment, Ken?
It's another option.
Yeah. That's the best way to put it. Very diplomatic.
I think unfortunately, go back to Ken's point about cajoling and, you know, trying not to lose members. I think inevitably you will lose members because people just won't change their attitude of going back to a meeting, and they don't want to do a virtual meeting. And I think there inevitably will be a loss at some point, despite anybody, you know, best efforts by people to say, look, just stay in. But I think you know, I think there'll be some attitude saying, well, that's not what I joined Rotary for, to join a virtual meeting.
Yeah.
And you can't do anything about that, and it's disappointing that that's their attitude.
I think you're right, David. And I mean, my own club has looked at a mini health check. We're actually starting to do it before the membership task force was done. And one of the things we're saying is, let's recognise all the members and all the good service they've given over the years, and let's create an environment, and it might be 2 or 3 different formats in Forest, where we manage all options. So if people want to come along for a meal in the fellowship, that's available, but we'll do the business first and they can have their meal after, for example. And create a satellite group for, and I call it younger people, which could be anything from 50s downwards, who want that different option. So that Forest is going to cater for that in a different way. Absolutely recognise what people want. Create the opportunity if we can keep them, because they've done a great amount of service over the years.
Right. Well, that's exactly what we are doing here as well. We've done that. We've got a survey around the members, got their thoughts, and pulling all that together, and trying to get something that will fit everybody. But time will tell on that, I guess.
Sure.
That was one of the
my thoughts.
That was one of the important considerations in this, was we might struggle to attract younger people to the existing clubs, and online or virtual Rotary Club might be an easier way to get younger members who might be happier doing that, because in a business sense, most people are doing that. Their meetings are done virtually. But it's just a thought to try and increase the membership and hopefully build Rotary.
Yep.
Yep. Is that exhausted? No more comments? The next point out here is, I think most of you will know, Ryle has been cancelled again this year. The outdoor centre has said we can't go ahead, so that's obviously going to continue to next year. No. Any other competent business? Anything else anybody wants to bring up? Anything they want to discuss? Yes, Alan. Sorry.
Sorry, my club secretary got an email this morning from the Rotary Club of MBD Brass City Stars in India.
Yeah, so did I.
Looking for help with requirements for 6 ventilators and life support systems in Moradabad in India. Is that not something that should be channeled through district, or certainly used to be?
There is I sent something to Christy, and I believe it will be coming out today from Kath, and it came from RIBI and RI, whatever, Great Britain and Ireland, and basically they've given you the options, the way you can donate money. The options are: do it through your own contacts in India, do it through this website, do it through. So there is a communication coming out today.
Okay, that's fine. So, no, I just thought this was jumping the gun from what I remember of district and whatever it used to be.
I wasn't even too sure the communication that came today was.
Yeah. Communications like this should have been channeled through.
Yeah, I did try to get it out.
Direct club.
Yeah, today.
Okay, I just needed to know so that I can tell our club what to do.
Yeah.
Nothing, in other words. Meantime.
Well, you can make donations via the, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, it's difficult for anybody to get and buy an oxygen tank and get it across there, so it's getting the money there to enable them to.
Sure, Mary. Yeah. Okay, I'll say that. Clarify that.
Alan. Do you have something to say, Mary? Did you want to say something?
Quickly, the Kids Out. Malcolm in our club is part of a I think it's area 3-4 kids out group. And I know there's going to be no kids out thing as it normally would be this year. Malcolm came back after having spoken to them, and they'd spoken to some of the schools, and schools felt that anything that happened had to be on an individual school basis rather than the groups we usually have. And the feeling was that I don't think any club individually would want to go and do something. So he just wanted to get any thoughts from MD and area 3 or 4 if they planned to or wanted to do anything re kids out.
I don't think we're doing anything for it, to be honest.
No.
Yeah.
No, likewise from St. Macher.
Yeah, so there's. Okay, I will pass that back to him.
Westville's trying to get into the school project meetings and things like that, but at the moment they've not had any reply.
Yeah, it's difficult.
Which meeting was that, Roy?
No, there's the schools have project meetings of what they're going to be doing in the term, and they're trying to get a couple of Rotarians to be allowed to join those so because we struggle with the schools at times.
Yeah.
And they're trying to get us involved at meetings in the school, but at the moment they haven't agreed yet.
So anything else somebody wants to bring up? What I'm proposing is that the next meeting will be the presidents and senior vice presidents for the coming year, so we can meet with them. And we miss a month for the area 4 meeting. Is everybody okay with that?
Yep.
So there's nothing else to bring up and no other points to be made. So thank you all for your attendance and the frank and open discussion, which is very important. The most important thing in Rotary is to communicate with people, find out what they really want. So it is very important because we have to react to it. My father always said there's no bad criticism in life, there's only good criticism. You might discount it, but at the end of the day, you have to listen to it. So I'm a great believer in that. Anyway, thank you all for coming along, giving up just over an hour of your time, and we'll see you all in due course. So
thank you.
As Ken says, safe journey back to your couch.
Thank you very much.
Bye all.
Take care. Thanks. Have a good weekend.
Bye.